1920s fashion revolution, when women shocked the world with bold dress. Welcome to the History in the Shadow. Please subscribe US. What if I told you that in the 1920s, women caused global scandals just by showing their ankles? That a single dress style was so shocking it was banned in several countries? Today, we're diving into the fashion revolution that changed women's lives forever. From queens to Hollywood stars, discover the women who dared to break every fashion rule. The 1920s didn't just roar with jazz, music, and prohibition. They roared with the most radical fashion revolution in history. Women went from wearing 25 pounds of clothing to dresses that barely covered their knees. To understand the 1920s fashion revolution, we need to see what women escaped from. In 1900, a well-dressed woman wore a corset that compressed her waist to 18 inches, layers of petticoats weighing up to 15-pound sleeves that covered every inch of arm, skirts that dragged on the ground, high necklines that covered the throat. Getting dressed took over an hour and required help. Women couldn't bend, move freely, or even breathe properly. The message was clear: women were decorative objects, not active participants in life. Everything changed when World War I forced women into the workforce. Suddenly, millions of women were working in factories, driving trucks, and performing physically demanding jobs. Victorian fashion became impossible. Women discovered the freedom of practical clothing. They shortened their skirts, abandoned corsets, and cut their hair. When the war ended in 1918, these women refused to go back to the fashion prison of the Victorian era. Enter the flapper, the woman who scandalized the world. The flapper dress was revolutionary. Dropped waistlines that ignored the female figure, sleeveless or short-sleeved, designed straight, boyish silhouettes. But it wasn't just the clothes. It was the attitude. Flappers smoked cigarettes in public, drank alcohol, danced to jazz music, wore makeup, and drove cars. They represented complete rebellion against traditional femininity. Even royalty joined the revolution, scandalizing conservative society. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, as the Duchess of York in the 1920s, she shocked British society by wearing fashionable dropped-waist dresses and shorter skirts. Her style was considered dangerously modern by palace standards. Princess Mary, King George V's daughter, became a fashion icon by embracing 1920 styles. She wore beaded evening gowns, cut her hair into a bob, and was photographed in sleeveless dresses. Queen Marie of Romania, perhaps the most daring royal, she wore exotic Orientalist fashion, bold jewelry, and dramatically styled hair. Her 1920s fashion choices made international headlines. Movie stars became the new fashion leaders, replacing European royalty. Louise Brooks, her geometric bob haircut, became the most copied hairstyle in history. Millions of women cut off their long hair to achieve her look. Clara Bow, the IT girl, epitomized flapper fashion with her short skirts, rolled-down stockings, and bold makeup. Her style was copied by young women worldwide. Greta Garbo, even in her early career, Garbo's sophisticated take on 1920s fashion, featuring clean lines and androgynous elements, influenced high fashion. The shocking details: the 1920s fashion revolution included details that scandalized society. Exposed skin. For the first time in centuries, women showed their arms, legs, and necks in public. Conservative groups called it indecent exposure. Cosmetics. Women began wearing makeup openly. Bright red lipstick, dark kohl eyeliner, and rouge became standard. Previously, only prostitutes and actresses wore visible makeup. Hair revolution. The bob cut was so shocking that some fathers disowned daughters who cut their hair. Barbers initially refused to cut women's hair. Underwear liberation. Women abandoned corsets for bras and girdles. The first modern bra was patented in 1914, but it became mainstream in the 1920s. Wealthy socialites led the fashion revolution. Coco Chanel. She liberated women from corsets and created the iconic little black dress. Her designs emphasize comfort and elegance over restrictive femininity. Chanel's personal style, tan skin, shorter hair, simple jewelry, became the template for modern women's fashion. Josephine Baker. The American-born French entertainer shocked Paris with her revealing costumes and androgynous style. Her influence extended to everyday fashion. Nancy Cunard. This British socialite embraced avant-garde fashion, wearing African-inspired jewelry and extremely short hair. Her bold choices influenced artistic circles. The 1920s fashion revolution caused international incidents, religious opposition. The Catholic Church declared short skirts an offense against Divine Majesty. Some parishes refused entry to women in fashionable dress. Legal restrictions. Several U.S. states proposed laws regulating skirt length. Utah tried to make it illegal for women to wear skirts shorter than 3 inches above the ankle. International outrage. Conservative societies worldwide condemned American and European fashion. Some countries banned Western fashion magazines. The fashion revolution transformed the economy. Mass production. Simpler dress designs enabled mass production. Fashion became affordable for working-class women for the first time. Beauty industry boom. The cosmetics industry exploded. Companies like Revlon and Max Factor were founded to meet demand for makeup. New careers. Women found new careers as fashion designers, models, and beauty specialists. The fashion industry employed millions. 1920s fashion wasn't just about clothes. IT represented fundamental social change, sexual liberation. Revealing clothing represented women's growing sexual autonomy. The fashion revolution paralleled the sexual revolution. Economic independence. Practical clothing enabled women to work outside the home. Fashion liberation supported economic liberation. Political empowerment. The same women who cut their hair and shortened their skirts also fought for the vote. Fashion rebellion and political rebellion went hand in hand. Conservative forces fought back against the fashion revolution. Moral panics. Newspapers and religious leaders blamed fashion changes for everything from declining birth rates to rising divorce rates. Family conflicts. Generational warfare erupted as daughters rejected their mother's fashion values. Many families were torn apart by fashion disagreements. Workplace discrimination. Many employers refused to hire women who dressed in the new fashion. Respectable. Jobs required conservative dress. The fashion revolution spread globally. Europe, London, and Paris became fashion capitals. European women embraced the new styles even more enthusiastically than Americans. Colonial societies. In British and French colonies, local elite women adopted Western fashion as a symbol of modernity. Resistance. Traditional societies resisted. In many countries, Western fashion became a symbol of cultural imperialism. The 1920s fashion revolution created the modern world. Every element of modern women's fashion, short hair, makeup, practical clothing, exposed skin, originated in the 1920s. Beauty standards. The 1920s created our modern beauty ideals, slim figures, youth, and active lifestyles. Fashion liberation was the first step toward broader women's liberation. Changing clothing changed consciousness. The fashion revolution ended abruptly with a 1929 stock market crash. The Great Depression brought conservative fashion back. Hemlines dropped, waistlines returned to their natural position, and formality returned. But the damage was done. Women had tasted freedom, and they would never fully return to Victorian restrictions. The 1920s fashion revolution was about more than clothes. It was about freedom. Women who had been trapped in Victorian fashion prisons broke free and created the template for modern femininity. They proved that changing how you dress can change how you live. From royal rebels to Hollywood stars, from Paris socialites to American flappers, these women literally fashioned a new world. The dropped waistlines, shortened hemlines, and bob hair of the 1920s weren't just fashion trends. They were declarations of independence. Every time a modern woman wears a short skirt, cuts her hair, or puts on makeup, she's following the footsteps of the brave women who shocked the world a century ago. Which 1920s fashion trend do you think was most revolutionary? Do you believe fashion can still drive social change today? Hit that like button if these ancient queens amazed you. Subscribe for more royal scandals. And comment which ruler you think was the most beautiful and dangerous. Next week, the secret life of Marie Antoinette, the queen who partied while France burned.